everyone, welcome along. My name's Amy and I'm going to be your trainer for today. So we're doing a module, our first module of the customer contact traineeship that you guys have been working through, so it's certificate 3. So we're doing formal training sessions for each of the modules that we're working through in the course, and this is the first one that we're going to do for this first module. Now, just to let everyone know that we're recording this for training purposes. Is everyone okay with that? Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. Okay, fabulous. So just before we get started, there's a couple of things. Obviously, this is an adult learning environment, so when we're moving through the training today over the next hour or so, just making sure that you keep in mind respecting everybody else's views, not talking over anybody else, making sure that you give everyone a chance to participate. And also, it's my responsibility as a trainer to manage work health and safety aspects of training throughout it. So that involves both knowing and keeping an eye on all of the work health and safety aspects of training, but also you guys as the learners have a responsibility in relation to work health and safety. So is everyone aware from your work of the work health and safety policy at ABMM?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Great, fabulous. Well, that's very good to hear. Just keep all of those responsibilities in mind as we're moving out today and making sure that you're looking out for the safety of everyone else. So with those couple of things covered off, we'll make a start. So today's module, we're looking at communication. So our first module is about customer service, and we're focusing today on communication, which is a really essential part of customer service. So we're going to start off with an icebreaker. I know some of you might know each other from work, but we're going to start off by breaking into pairs and just talking to each other and introducing yourself and talking to each other about a customer contact experience that you've had that was maybe particularly good or particularly bad. So thinking about something and what elements of that experience were good, what made it good or bad. And then we're going to come back into the group and we'll get you to introduce your partner and to point out maybe some of the things that you both observed in relation to customer contact. So go ahead now, grab maybe the person sitting next to you and introduce yourself.
Yeah, mate. I'm Brandon.
Brandon?
Yeah.
I'm Shirley.
Shirley, okay.
Yeah, so
I'm
customer service mate the other day.
Yeah.
I was
What happened to you, Brandon? Tell me about it.
I was in
sales team.
You know how
And you?
like
I work in
Sure, I've had better ones, but
we've
Okay,
got
great.
like events for people and stuff.
Okay, cool.
train,
And so
yeah,
what's
hopefully.
a
Yeah.
Don't I know?
memorable customer contact
Don't I know?
experience?
Old mate rings me up. And
remember
she's like, g'day, like, I'm going to training next week on leadership.
and
So
I have a lot of
yeah, no worries. But she couldn't. She was like, yeah, I booked in, but I can't go. And I said, look, well, it's like.
I've had a couple instances where
I just say, you know, I don't know what I can do. But then, so then, you know, finish the conversation. Then my manager comes over, Shane. You know Shane?
Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Not like that bloody Shane Watson.
It's kind of hard cold calling people to try and get them.
Yeah, so Shane's like, no,
But
like,
I often
that's
find
not
like if you kind of start with
right? Like, we've
just
got a
general kind of icebreaker conversation and like
actually,
building
I
on
don't know
that
if you
rapport
know
with
this, but
them,
we
that
can
always
offer
works really well.
to
So I've had some
replace
experiences
them,
where
so
like,
someone else
you
from
know,
the
I kind
agency
of,
comes to replace it and
that someone lives
or
in an area that I used to live
pay
in,
for
and so
them
we sort
to
of like
come
talk
to
about,
like
you know,
later.
the street
So,
that I used to like go to
tell me,
shop
yeah,
at,
yeah, my
so that
best
I like know that there's another human down the other end.
Can't win them all.
Yeah,
can you, Brandon?
Yeah, definitely.
Heads up, wrong.
How are you guys doing in common?
Yeah, I was just about to.
I
I was just about to hear from Mel.
Oh,
Mel, great.
Yeah. So,
I suppose, yeah,
so
I'd
the
like
other
to kind
day,
of like try a few
sit at
different
the front
areas.
desk,
I'm
little old
not
lady
so
walks
good at
in.
finance, I don't think.
Would have been,
but,
I don't know, 150.
but
Comes in,
I think
looking to
like
buy
the
some
strategic
cucumbers.
area would be really interesting. Trying to
We
figure
don't
out
sell
where we
cucumbers.
fit the business
We're a business network. So there I am.
It's kind of hard to
Got all this stuff.
so
Really want some cucumbers.
And
What about
So I have to tell
the
her.
person
We don't-
You guys are going
We don't sell cucumbers.
Yeah.
Not
How are
us,
you guys
love.
going?
Not us.
Use each other?
But, you know,
They,
she's a lovely lady, so I didn't want to just kick her out. So I drew a little map, showed her where the local IGA was, and I hoped she found some, so she could have a little sandwiches that afternoon.
So you were making the appointment?
Yeah, that was a good experience. I felt. She invited me around for a cuppa later, but I was on till 5. Oh,
Yeah.
I was. Oh, but man, I could have used
Yeah.
the
I had to
cuppa.
bring a
Yeah,
and then afterwards, and then
Yeah.
you're like,
Okay, guys. So that's
What was it?
probably. How's everyone going? Has everyone introduced each other?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so also maybe grab a piece of paper and also write your name down, and we can have just name tags to make sure everyone knows who you each are. So yeah, maybe just fold a piece of paper across and.
Brandon, not in your own paper.
And then we might. So maybe we'll start off with.
How big? Like, that's too big?
I think yeah, just to put on the table, just fold it over just like a.
Okay. Right. So you can do that. Upside down, very nice.
Ah, shit.
Okay, so what was your name over here?
Mel.
Mel. All right. So Mel, do you want to start off by introducing your partner and giving us a bit of a?
I'm Mel.
No. You're introducing your partner.
Oh, Brandon. There's Brandon.
Okay. Yeah. Great. And what were some of Brandon's stories? Some of the good aspects of Brandon's story that he was telling you about his customer contact experience.
Brandon had someone call up to try to swap training. He told them they couldn't, and he got that one wrong. Turns out they could swap training. Yeah.
Okay. And did he felt that was a good customer contact experience?
I think probably a bad one. Put it in a bad,
Put it in a bad
basket.
thing.
Yeah, we'll chalk that one up as a.
Okay.
a bad
And
one.
what bits could have been improved? How could Brandon have done a better job in that instance?
It sounded like he talked to the lady quite nice. He just got the facts wrong.
Okay. So it's just knowing your products basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could say that. Been better at your job.
Well, I'm sure that
Classic Mel.
Brandon was doing it was.
He was giving it a crack.
Yeah, I'm sure that you definitely were. All right, Brandon. So how about you? Introduce your partner.
Hello everyone, this is Mel. Mel was telling me about a time when a lady came in and Mel was on the front desk and she wanted to buy some cucumbers. But as you know, we don't sell cucumbers. So Mel very kindly drew a map for the lady and showed her where she could get some cucumbers from. And I thought that was excellent work on the front desk.
Great. Okay. And Mel, do you feel like you communicated pretty effectively with the lady in that example?
Yeah, she was really old, so I had to draw a map.
Okay. So she wasn't able to hear so well.
Oh, I don't know if she could hear very well. She was really old.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, great. That's good. First two examples. How about you guys? Do you want to introduce each other?
Sure. So this is Jess,
Yeah.
and she was telling me about an experience she had as a customer.
Yeah. Great.
And she was booking an appointment, and the person that was making the booking was asking her a lot of questions and giving her advice about the exact type of appointment that she needed to make sure that it was the right appointment. And that was a very good customer experience that Jess had, although I don't actually know what the appointment was.
Okay.
She didn't tell me. But
Right.
it was a good
It
experience.
was a good experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Being asked lots of questions to
Okay.
find out exactly what it was she needed.
So you felt like they were really interested in what your particular needs were
Yeah,
and trying to
and they
make
could
those.
answer the questions and that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. Great.
Mhm.
Okay.
This is Jeremy. Jeremy was telling me about a bad experience he had in a previous role.
Yep.
Where he had a customer phone up, had quite a bad situation. The man had broken his back, so had been in hospital, lost his job, he really empathised with him, but unfortunately he couldn't actually help him resolve his issue, and so, you know, it was a bit of a conflict for him because even though he could empathise, he couldn't really solve the issue
know
as
what he
such.
could do to actually help.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. Fantastic, okay. Jeremy and Jess. Alright, and you guys?
Right, well this is Kirsty, did I get that right? Yeah. Kirsty. She is in our sales area, which is very interesting to hear about. I guess she was kind of giving us some tips on what she thought a good customer experience would be, which for her is cold calling, but doing it in a way in which you try and relate immediately with the person on the other end. So she used one example where she tries to find out a bit about, you know, where they're from, is there any kind of connection that she has with that place, could she kind of pinpoint a local place that you could kind of create a connection between, which I thought was really positive.
Right.
Yeah.
So also kind of empathising and
very
connecting
similar.
with the customer. Fantastic.
And this is Shirley, who works in the finance area,
Yeah.
often processing invoices, and she was telling me about sort of some challenging customer service experience she's had where they've had sort of customers on the other end of the line getting very frustrated because like the system, like our systems don't quite work to their needs, and so it's like not something that Shirley can help, but you have to kind of manage their expectations and frustrations.
Yeah. And how Shirley do you find that you can do that? How's a good way to try to manage their expectations?
I think a lot about asking questions, so kind of resolving exactly what it is that they want us to do, trying to see if there's anything they can do from their end.
Yeah.
Often we have to kind of have multiple conversations. I sometimes feel more comfortable, I get the information, and then I call them back afterwards after I've chatted with some people.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so a really key thing which came out in some of those stories is about how good the communication is. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is just giving you some extra skills. I think some of you have already got some really great skills, and you've got some good examples of things where communication has worked well, but just giving you a few more ideas about what you can maybe do better, what you can bring into the workplace and really use. So we'll get started on that now. So we're going to start off by talking about the voice aspect of communication, so the actual verbal communication. And there's a good acronym that you can use to try to help you remember this. So you can follow along on your slides that you've got printed out there if that's helpful, particularly because then you can see it close up. So you guys being external facing officers, you are often the first people that any customers coming to ABM come into contact with. So it's really important that you give a really good first impression. So this acronym is useful in talking about voice tools because you can really picture the telephone presence that's happening. So we're going to move through the different letters and talk about some of the good things in each of them. So the first one is pitch. So your pitch is the frequency of your voice, and some of the things, and you guys might have examples of where this has happened to you.
You were talking about just the other day.
A low frequency can sometimes be taken as threatening, and a high frequency, when you really kind of squeaking in your voice, can sometimes be interpreted as quite stressful. And customers are obviously taking any of that on, even if they can't see you, so they're hearing in your voice. So the second letter is I, so that's inflection. And we have an upwards inflection a lot of the time when we're trying to ask a question. So we sometimes sort of end upwards on the end of a sentence, saying, is that correct? Really? You can hear the kind of upward intonation happening, and that's inflection. And sometimes, so it indicates questioning, but it also can sometimes indicate insincerity or suspense or surprise. And in the opposite way, downward inflection can be quite powerful and dominant and sort of says, this is what we're doing, end of story, stop, go. You know, anything that says, this is it. So, and lowering your inflection at the end of a sentence can give the customer that kind of impression, that you're confident in the information that you tell them, that you know the story. And similarly, using upward inflection in the middle of a sentence might help to sort of give the impression that you're still interested, that you're engaged, that you're empathising the same way we were just talking about. So grab a partner again. We'll just do a quick exercise. So you've got a couple of different, or you've got the same sentence, but you've got a couple of different lines as you move through the sentence. So you want to change the inflection and see how that changes the meaning of the sentence. And just use the opportunity to say it to each other, so maybe do one or two each, and notice what actually happens to what you think that the person's saying to you.
Okay.
So you can use the same pairs that you were just working.
I did not say he lost the keys.
I did not say he lost the keys.
I did not say that he
did not
lost
say he lost the keys.
I did not 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 say he lost the keys.
So maybe take one of those examples that you're saying and get one of you say it and the other person translate and talk about what you think is meant when you use that particular inflection or that emphasis.
Yeah, okay.
I did not say he lost the keys.
So if I say I did not say he lost the
Does that
keys.
sound right?
I did not say he lost the keys.
Well, maybe he lost
That
something.
makes it sound like you didn't say
Yeah.
it, maybe
Yeah.
someone else.
And it kind of indicates maybe it's a bit of an
Maybe
idiom.
I did not say he.
Also change
Maybe it was
the-
Yeah, so it's kind of like, did he lose them or did he
not
like,
necessarily you.
did someone steal
I did
them
not say he
or
lost.
Why did you
has
say
he
he
just
lost the keys?
misplaced them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of questioning that aspect.
Something.
Whereas I think if it was
What about-
Maybe about the keys.
I don't know, the last
Maybe
one where
about them again.
I did not say he lost the keys,
I did
like
not
maybe
say
that's
he
I
lost.
don't know, a conversation with someone where it's clarifying
between
what was
like
being lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Confusion about
So
Yeah.
what do you want to do with them?
Yeah.
Maybe
I feel
it's
like,
like
you know, a bit like on a particular
That's
syllable,
third
there
one,
seems to be
it's
emphasis
like, well,
on
it
just
might have
one
been
word as
lost them
opposed
or
to
Seems
someone
reasonable to me.
Yeah.
yeah, or you like
Or even the
scandals
first
are
one.
always
I
just
did not say
like,
he lost the keys. Like someone else said that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah,
not say
that's right.
he lost the keys.
yeah, maybe he
Correction.
may not have left the case.
as opposed to
So I'll
You might have misplaced
Yeah,
it.
I'm angry.
Okay, someone else.
tone and
Okay, has everyone had an opportunity to give that a go?
Mhm.
So what did you notice when you changed the emphasis or the inflection that you're using?
Well, it emphasises that particular word, so it changes the meaning of the whole
Changes the meaning. So do you have one example of where that happened, Jeremy? Like what happened when you said the first sentence? What did you think that might have meant? If you emphasised it?
Well, I emphasised the I, so then it sounded like it wasn't me who lost the keys.
It was
It wasn't me who said that,
It wasn't me who said it.
that he lost the keys.
Yeah.
But maybe someone else.
Rather than necessarily the focus being on the fact that he did lose the keys, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
But
You
said
said
it.
it.
Yes.
Okay, great. And did everyone else have that experience? Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Also feel free to ask any questions as we're going through, guys. So if there's anything that comes up that you feel like you want to cover off a bit more on, we can definitely do that as well. So the next is C in our picture acronym, which is about courtesy and can-do attitude. So obviously this is something when you're dealing with any of your customers that you're using please, thank you. You're being very, very courteous. It's one of the key principles of the organisation. So making sure that you use that kind of language, that you be really positive, even if you get an example like you had, Shirley, where someone's being quite aggressive or negative or finding something distressing, that you don't react to that and match their pitch, intonation. You keep your language really positive. And talk about things that you can do, what you can help with, how you might be able to assist rather than what isn't available. And if you do have to say something negative, then follow with a positive. So the fourth letter is T, so that's tone. So that's part of what we were talking about in inflection as well, and pitch, the kind of low or high that you choose in your voice, and how that potentially impacts on what you're saying. So that can again adjust things. The next one along, understandability, so the U, it's about how easily you can be understood. So if you use a lot of jargon or acronyms, which we all pick up in the workplace, they're things that we hear all the time, so we get used to saying BCF or whatever's the local area that we work with a lot. And if you're talking to a customer, they might have no idea what that actually is.
Yeah, I work in QRN.
You work in QRN, do you, Jeremy?
Yeah, so I try not to use that because people don't know what I mean.
Yeah. What does it mean?
Quantitative research network.
Right.
In.
So it would be more useful if you said that to the customer, if you need to tell them about that, and if you don't, then that's fine. But that's good, very good example.
I'll tell them next time.
Similarly, if you're chewing or distracted or making other kind of noises when you're on the phone to a caller, they're probably not going to be able to understand what you're saying. Which takes us to R, which is the rate of speech. So how quickly you talk. So if you pace your speech reasonably evenly, you might speed up on occasion but slow down. You don't want to be going at 100 miles an hour, because when that happens, people are probably going to lose what you're saying. If you're going very slowly, then they might kind of just trail off, because you're also not kind of keeping their attention. And they almost are trying to anticipate what you're going to say. And finally, enunciation. So enunciation is speaking each syllable of the word, really clearly spelling it out. So there's also a couple of sentences there that you can practice saying again with your partner. See if you can enunciate all of the sentences, all of the words in that sentence, or one of the three sentences that are there.
Slick, brick, shoot, he, choose, picks and sticks.
What?
I thought about something stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you choose
Oh.
choose
It's do choose
You guys go.
Should Stu choose the shoes he chooses?
The first one?
I wouldn't think so. Because he's using them for other reasons. He's using them for chewing.
Yeah. I wouldn't be chewing shoes.
Six, hicks, nicks,
Oh my
six,
God.
flick,
That's
with
harder.
picks
Yeah.
and sticks. What?
Oh, wow. And
Hit.
Oh.
There we go. You go first one.
Six,
I'm
sheep,
not going
sheep,
to say these over and
six,
over again.
sheep, six.
The sheep.
Hopefully I never have to say this in my
Sheep,
talk.
sheep,
And I'd be
sheep,
surprised if
sheep.
I had to say that. Yeah.
A
The
six,
second one.
six sheets. Six
Okay,
sheets.
that's probably a good amount of practice. So anyone have got any observations about the trying to enunciate those sentences?
Why is Stu chewing shoes?
Yeah, well, so I think I heard, what were you saying, Kirsty?
That's you.
That I hope I wouldn't have to say this in a phone call to a customer.
Yeah. So I think in answer to your question, Mel, you probably wouldn't be saying it to a customer, so it's probably okay, but it does highlight the kind of enunciation that you would need in a normal sentence, which would be much easier to do.
I feel like I have to slow down a lot as well.
Oh, so it's good to talk like this because it slows you down.
Yeah, two tricky words.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's our picture acronym, so that can help you keep in mind all of those different things. Did anyone have any questions about any of those different ones before we move on to the... No? Okay, great. So we'll move on to non-verbal communication. So that's the part that we're not saying, so it's not what you hear in your voice, it's what you can see. Which you can see from this diagram actually makes up a lot of the way that people see us. So it's not so relevant when you're talking on the phone, because they cannot necessarily see you, although there are some aspects of talking on the phone that people can almost hear in the way that you then translate it into your voice, so the way that you're using your voice. So keeping in mind how the two interact is really important. So one aspect of non-verbal communication is eye contact. So when you do have a customer who's in front of you, what do people think is a good way to deal with them in terms of making eye contact or not making eye contact?
You should kind of follow their lead. Like if they're an eye contacty person.
So
Yeah.
like they look left, you look left.
Yeah. No.
You probably wouldn't want to stare at them the whole time, but you
No.
probably also wouldn't want to avoid looking at them
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. So what happens when you stare at someone?
It gets really uncomfortable.
They get a bit awkward and self-conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. So you definitely don't want to be kind of staring them down and single pointed focus on just them. but you also don't want to be kind of looking at the ground or over at the ceiling or over somewhere else other than them, because what will happen then?
They'll think that you don't care.
Yes, possibly will think that you don't care or that you're not interested in what they're saying.
Or that something interesting is happening behind them.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They'll think that your attention is elsewhere. Okay, so that's great. So you already got some really good ideas about eye contact. So the other aspect, or one of the other aspects of nonverbal communication is your body language. And eye contact can be part of body language, but body language is about the way that you stand, the position that you hold your hands in, your shoulders, what stance you might choose. So there's a number of different studies that have been done about the way that we hold ourselves and how that's interpreted by others. So sometimes when you're crossing your hands and kind of hunched right over, you can look particularly uncomfortable, you can look quite inward focused, so you're not kind of inviting and part of the conversation with everyone else. Similarly, if you're kind of scrunched up very tightly, that can come across in the same kind of way. Has anyone noticed or interacted with someone where they feel like they're really confident? The way that they've stood or held themselves?
Brandon wasn't bad.
Yeah? And what Mel, do you think about Brandon? How was he holding himself when you feel like he was kind of presenting?
Quite upright and
upright?
spoke quite sort of firmly. Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking is the actual words, that's the verbal communication. What about the non-verbal? So yes, standing upright. Was there anything else that you noticed about the way he was holding himself?
He sort of likes his arm and his chills.
Yeah, okay. And how does that make you feel?
So, yeah, it's alright. Don't mind it.
Does it feel...
He looks confident, he looks comfortable.
He does look confident and comfortable. Yeah.
I'm really approachable. I want to be friends with you.
Snuggling man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other observations about different kinds of body language? What can open hands potentially symbolize?
Quite inviting, like drawing them in.
Yeah.
And I think people that like move their hands around and that kind of thing, you feel like that they're quite open and approachable and that kind of thing. People that are really rigid and kind of standoffish, you kind of a bit unsure about whether they're going to help you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. So hand movement, so you kind of want to be careful with hand movement because you don't want to be gesticulating so much that people kind of aren't able to keep track of you. But I think you're right that it goes with a bit of making people feel that you're understanding what they're saying, that you're listening to them, that you're incorporating it into the way that you're responding. Fantastic. Okay. So, we're going to finish off today with a role play, which allows us to pull together all of the stuff that we have been working through, so the voice tools and the non-verbal communication that we were just talking about. So, split into groups of 3 this time. So maybe if Mel and Brandon and Jeremy want to go together, and if Jess you go with Shirley and Kirsty.
She's like Mel Gibson.
No, we need to separate.
You might want to. So if you want to go over a little, if you guys want to go over here.
Well, it's probably easier if they do because I've got my chair.
Oh, your chair. Okay. So how about if you guys? That's a good idea.
Okay.
How about if you guys go and have the other space over here? So you've got the scenario on your worksheet
You don't wheel into the bookshelf again.
No, that's right.
So you want to choose
That's how it happened. The
person
bookshelf
A.
Reminds you of all that previous trauma. I was thinking much better English.
Okay, so just a couple of minutes to do this, maybe sort of 5 minutes to do this, and we'll come back into the group and finish up.
Right.
So, this is what happened to me.
Thanks being customer
You
service.
read the scenario.
I think you're the observer.
Yeah.
I'll be A, the customer.
This is mine.
You'll be A,
So,
the customer.
Cool, alright, I'm B.
You're the administrator.
Yeah,
this is the
Right, this is me sitting.
Okay, I just need to figure out.
Welcome. Come see me.
So who wants to be who?
I don't know, don't
Should we
mind.
come up with some elaborate...
You were the customer last time.
I I was the administrative officer who didn't know the department's policies about it.
Did you enjoy that role?
Okay.
Would you like to roll again?
Everyone's getting into
Getting
Like
like
that?
that.
Do you
Stress.
want to
yeah,
Oh,
I'm really stressed and
be
like in a
the
rush.
customer so
Okay,
that you
so-
can see how frustrated they were with you?
Okay.
Hi.
Good one.
Hi, how are you? I don't have that much time today, but I've recently